Another series, Apple TV Plus, Sugar. Now, this is a Colin Farrell starring vehicle. Obviously, he's going to be pretty busy with the Penguin coming out later this year. Tell us about Sugar.
It's difficult to. Well, it is difficult to describe, but it's not. Okay. You a Bogey fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Think of it as modern 21st century film noir.
Okay.
In color mostly. And it's very moody. Dark sense of humor, just generally dark. And Colin Farrell plays an LA detective, private detective, looking for a movie producer's daughter. And you could tell there is an entire compelling backstory to the character. You're never quite sure what it is. And I'll be honest, they give away a little bit of it more than a little bit in the third episode. But what makes this work, two things. Colin Farrell is great. I mean, he's not what you would expect from Colin Farrell, which is, if you're an actor, I guess it's always a good thing. Totally not what you're. He's vulnerable, dangerous, compassionate, yet you don't mess with him. The character is what drives it. The character is extremely interesting. Now, what the creator, and I don't know the creators, the creators, Protosevich. I don't know if I pronounced that name right, but what's interesting is he will juxtapose classic film clips at certain elements during the narrative, linking the story that way to moments in film. Mm-hmm. So it's very meta, it's very compelling, and it's basically hypnotic. And I can't recommend it highly enough. I don't know what other kind of reviews it's getting. I haven't bothered to pay attention because this is stuff I just started. I saw commercials for Sugar. And I just thought I'd give it a shot, and I'm not regretting it at all.
Yeah, I've heard good things overall. So you're definitely in the same boat as a lot of other critics that I've seen that have taken it on. That Colin Farrell, I think he's always kind of got a bad rap, maybe for. He is a very good actor, and a lot of times I think it's about the projects that he's been in. And even though I am probably one of the few Daredevil fans out there, I get why people weren't fans of that movie, or maybe not fans of his over-the-top villain performances, Bullseye. But I think there are times where he gets a little sort of a bad rap as not being an actor, but he's a guy that can act. He's proven it in several movies. He was fantastic in Bruges. I mean, this is a guy that can certainly go toe to toe with the greats out there if you give him the right material.
Oh, see, he's also one of those pretty boys. I mean, we've had the pretty boy conversation. And
yeah.
I mean, you're a pretty boy, you don't get taken seriously. And I think that's been part of his problem. But you're right. And I'm sorry. And it's primarily because of all the makeup that you forget he's there. But he's a hell of a penguin. He's a hell of an Oswald Cobblepot in the Batman. He really is. And it's like you forget he's in there, period.
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, he's one of those underrated guys who deserves all the praise he can get. And hopefully this, you shouldn't have to raise Colin Farrell's profile, but
right.
Hopefully this begets him more respect. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Well, and of course, he did have the Oscar nomination for the Banshees of Inisherin, but yeah, I think that, this is a guy, especially too, as I don't want to say he's aged out of his pretty boy, whatever, but, this is a guy that's showing his age a little bit more, and he's taking on roles like the Penguin, where he's not afraid to get into a fat suit, get the makeup on, and look not at all like Colin Farrell, so he can play this, mid-level Gotham gangster and do it so well that he gets himself a spin-off, for Max, at some point this year. So, it's good to see him getting some of these roles, and I think he's definitely proving time and time again that he can take on. He takes on he's sort of a risk taker, though. He's not one of your classic, like the Matthew McConaughey types where he does like a million rom-coms and then now he's just trying to find his footing in the dramatic role. This is a guy that's really been all over the place. I mean, he's started, yeah, he's starred in a lot of big budget stuff, but then he's also taken on lesser roles and in meatier parts and in smaller parts alike. I mean, this is a guy that's, he's worked with Terrence Malick on The New World. This is a guy that's done a lot of different types of things, and he's taken chances, and he's not kind of pigeonholed himself into that one certain archetype of a character where he's just going to get by on his looks and charm, but he's actually proven he can act, and he's willing to take on big and small parts alike just to make sure that people are aware that he's got the talent to do so.
Oh, absolutely. And I in this particular series, and normally you see him in these tougher guy roles. Even the Penguin is a tough guy.
Right, yeah.
John Sugar, it's sort of a departure simply because that vulnerability is there. And he shows it. He shows it. So it's a role you appreciate.
Yep.
It's a performance you appreciate.